96F. Just gonna do a mic check. Make sure everybody can hear me okay. I guess there was some people saying that it was kind of muffled last time, so and they wanted me to um, I guess have a bigger face when I'm talking. So hope this works better. Just wanted to sort of talk a lot about a lot of different things. Um, since it seems like everything's happening at the same time, and I'm kind of it's easier for me just talking versus typing it all out on Mattermost. So um, delay, huh? Okay, let me see. I don't know if I got the delay going. Let me just double check that. Audio stream trans. Hmm. This one I had some kind of delay before. Uh, yeah, maybe Rob is just being a dick about it. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. Anyway, so I last few weeks I've been pretty much either sick or I've been busy with other stuff, and like today, I mean I feel better today. I'm 80% today, and way after I get off work, I got all these notifications about all these orders I'm getting. So I got two, three hub orders, like four Etsy orders for like spinners and battery hoppers that I print and sell, and some guy on Tindy actually wanted me to print out a whole set of the Haribo hot and red for him for his conversion. Then on top of all that, I still have to deal with some local orders that for spinners and stuff like that, and I'm looking at it and there's only so many days left to do all this other stuff, and it just happens to just come all at the same time. So that's why I was mentioning that like it when it rains it just pours. Like, I mean, like if they actually spaced these out last week or so, I could have done it a little less uh, aggressive pace. But anyway, so um, I went over to Digimakers. There's a local shop here, the 3D printing shop called Digimakers, and to pick up the eSun PTG. Right now they have it on sale actually for 30 Canadian, which is actually cheaper than buying it from Micro Center in the US. So I picked up this is one PTG Gray because Filament.ca has been out for weeks, and um, I got a few orders for spinners. So what I wanted to share with you guys was a couple of things that I learned while I was doing spinners in the last few weeks was the oh, this is the mango one that came that with I was printing yesterday. I think you guys saw that it was being printed. So um, it's got the surfboard shape, and they use the same caps and the same bearings. These are M8 nuts, not M10, so they make us a little smaller. Um, they're for like smaller kids, like so. The anyway, I'm gonna assemble these. I got my goddaughter's actually gonna sell these at school, so she got orders for six of them already. So I gotta start making these. As soon as I start making these, I got all these other orders coming in. Anyway, what I wanted to say was, um, a lot of guys are making these out of PLA. Probably not a good idea because kids will leave them in the car or leave them outside. or they'll start to deform, and you're gonna have all sorts of problems with them. And so I've been switching all of my stock over to PTG. The color choices are a little limited, but um, it works out a lot better with the PTG. The other thing is that PLA is very strong, but yet it's very brittle. So what happens is that when you start to um, jam the bearing into the middle or the nuts, um, it could crack. And I had a few cracked ones. See if I could find the one I threw away yesterday. Yeah, of course now I can't find it now, but basically it cracked right along the where you would force the bearing into the hole, and it just cracked. So luckily it cracked when it was here, not when I sent it out to the customer, because the that would have been a nightmare because I would have to replace it and send it out and stuff like that. So the I that was one of the gray PLA ones I printed before, and it just got to the point where it was easily snapped. So I've been reprinting all of them in PTG and replacing the stock that I have. So that's gonna take a little while, and I'm printing with the new eSun PTG, and I can tell you it prints really well. I mean, I'm looking at it so far. See if I could show here. Yeah, so that's printing the PTG dark gray, solid gray they call it. It's it from what I can see from here it's printing really well. So I'm happy with a $30 purchase on that filament. Um, the the spool was actually, I think you guys have probably seen the spool before, but it's the same size, and then I can actually just use the same spool holder. It's clear. It's a clear spool, so it looks kind of different than the black one we used to with Filament CA. Um, so far I didn't change the settings on the PTG. It's 240, 75, and it seems to work okay. Um, yeah, and so I'm trying to catch up on the stock and put the orders out. The other thing is the um, these caps actually, I actually also print them out of PTG. When I tried out with the PLA, there's no give on the PLA. So when you try to get a good snug fit on the bearing themselves, you end up like either cracking the cap or pushing the bearing out. So it was getting to a point where it wasn't working. So I printed these out of the PTG orange that I use for the printer, and you get quite a bit with one plate. So I usually print about 24 of these, so good for 12 spinners. Um, what else do you think about spinners? Oh, so I know you guys noticed that I use nuts as the counterweight. Don't be the guy who use you know who use bearings out in the edges for counterweight. The nut will weight more and is cheap, and you don't waste bearings. I mean, the bearings are you're kind of wasting bearings if you put bearing like the mount on the edges. Um, the double seems to sell more than the triples. I know the triple spins longer because of the counterweight, but the double is easier to pocket, and it's like kind of like what these guys are like calling EDC, so everyday carry. So it's easier and it looks a little bit skinnier than triple. I had a quad, like a cross, and it didn't spin as well. So I think the double is, if you guys are gonna print them to style, I think the double is where you need to go. And you can actually print quite a bit. I mean, you can see on that plate, I could probably print about 10 on the plate. But usually I just do four, mainly because I just do four for the different colors, and then these small um, like mango ones that I call them. I print about six of these on one plate, and yeah, I mean they work. I mean you have a little bit of flex on them because they're PTG, and I'm happy with it. What's the other thing? I've been trying to find a matte black uh, PLA for um, for some of the like figures and stuff that I print, and I'm trying to. I'm gonna try the eSun. They have an eSun PLA Plus in matte black, so I'm gonna try that. See if it comes out when the printer comes out matte black or it comes out slightly glossy. I noticed that with the PTG, most of them will come out glossy, so and I kind of didn't really like that. So what I'm gonna do is actually talk to the Digimaker guy. He said the Porter pasta comes out matte black, but that stuff is expensive. I mean, for what I get for 1 kilo, I could get about 250 to 300 grams um, of the Porter pasta. So I do think it was worth the money. Um, let's see, turn the camera a little. Uh, so over there, I'm still trying to get this wired up. The minion edition of the Dirt printer. I think um, once I get this one all sorted out, I think it'll be good news this weekend because I need to print more orders. So hopefully I'll try to um, spend tomorrow night on this. Popping up the fuse. So I'm gonna try to spend tomorrow night on or tonight or tomorrow night on fixing the rest of that printer. You can see I got started on it. I mean, the base frame is pretty much done. I have to wire up the power supply and then basically run the wires for the rest of the stuff. It shouldn't be more than a few hours, and I really should just get off my ass and then get this printing so that I can get 3 printers working. Let's see. Oh, funny story. So I'm at Digimakers, and this kid comes in. They were really busy, but when finally my turn, it was just me and this other kid comes in, and he's looking at printers he wants to buy. So I get from what he's was talking to the owner about. I guess he was in the business selling spinners, which was what caught my attention. So he went in to buy a let's see if I can find it, one how duplicator. So um, let's see, did you make this? So the it was funny because he went in to buy the printer, and he wanted because he was in need of like printers this weekend to finish some orders he's got. So the conversation was interesting because he was like, oh well, one of my friends came in last week and bought 4 printers for his spinner business. So, can you tell me which ones he bought? And the owner said, well, he bought 4 Banhao duplicate i3s. And then the kid's like, uh, okay. And the owner's like, well, you're asking for a duplicator, like the one that looks like a MakerBot one, and that was like $1,200. I was like, holy crap, that's expensive. In my mind, I'm thinking, right? And he's like, well, did you want to switch to the i3s? Because I guess he just got them in stock again. And he's like, no, I'll get this one. And because he said, I need to print like a whole bunch of spinners this weekend. So the owner goes to the back and tries to get him the printer, and I try to strike up a conversation with him, right? So I said, hey, um, why'd you want to get a FlashForce Creator? I said that's the one, FlashForce Creator. I said the guy one, you could do them on the i3. And then also I asked him, I said, like you got a lot of orders for spinners, and this guy's looking at me like I'm trying to steal his business or something. So he's not talking to me about what he's doing and stuff like that. And I mean, always a nice guy. I mean, I'm trying to, you know me. I just talk to everybody. I'm trying to get him to, you know, to let him know that yeah, his spinners are dying business. I mean, if you're getting orders now, it's because people haven't figured out that they could buy them at the corner store. So thinking like he was getting this for I think $12.99, so like $70 off this price. But the thing is that I guess let me just go back to display capture. So he was getting this one for $12.99, and I was like, dude, like look at the build plate on that thing. Like you won't be able to print all those spinners that you're selling, and what are these things? And I think he better off with, um, yeah, like the only thing that I think they should just go and get the i3s, because the i3s I think was way cheaper. If I remember, like it was like half the price of this, and he could probably double his volume by going with a couple of i3s instead, right? Um, yeah, 649 for i3 plus. So I don't know what the guy was thinking, but um, even then, at 649, I mean, I wouldn't sink $649 into a like this Wanhao duplicate i3, because seriously, I don't think the market's there. I mean, I'm printing a few of them because I got orders for them, and the designs that I do are like, you know, you can't you can't just download them. So, um, I think I'll probably get another week or 2 weeks out of it, and that's it. But I guess he's a little bit more optimistic. He can maybe he thinks that you get more out of it. But the owner at the time was like, "Well, I could give it for 1,200 if you buy two of them." So I think he was still dealing with him when I left. So I'm thinking the owner is going to try to sell him two of them for like 2,400 plus tax here. So that's quite a bit of spinners to sell to make that $3,000 back. And he went and picked out like 14 spools of PLA plus. So that was what I want to tell you guys. Like the use PTG, because he's using PLA plus, and he's not gonna have a good time with that. I think he's gonna find out that it's not gonna work as well as you think he's gonna do. Um, yeah, I mean it is end up being a dime business. But I did talk to him about the Haribo. I mentioned him that like he wanted to start carrying the MK2, and um, so I said, why don't you just carry the Haribo? I mean, like we are working on self sourcing, and you can probably get most of the stuff yourself anyway. And I mentioned to him that he could go and look at it and see how much of it he could use and stuff like that. So that'd be interesting to see. One of the things I saw there when I was there was um, this thing, the T-Rex 2, which is basically um, a 3030 base um, G-Max. They basically use the same heat bed and everything, and it looked pretty good when I was there. But at 2,500 Canadian, I thought it was a little bit expensive, but um, it it does have dual extrusion, so I'm not sure if like here where you actually supposedly you could print two things at the same time. So the spinner guy maybe should have oh, bear it. Don't make me cough. Yeah, I think like this is interesting because having the ability to print two different things, like two things on the same bed at the same time would would be interesting to see like if that should work it out. Um, I told you guys I'm only 80%. Anyway, the I wanted to, just in case you guys are missing the oh, that's in Marlin now. Just in case you guys missed the things, two things that we're doing, sort of minor changes to make it a little bit friendlier to the European guys. Is one is me and John will work out the schedule so that I think going forward we'll release the weekly challenge Friday at noon Eastern time. So um, because if we release it at 5 or 6 p.m. like we normally do, you guys are all sleeping. So we'll release the weekly challenge at noon Eastern time, so that it's dinner time for you guys, and you guys could get a head start while we at work. You could go and start on the weekly challenge, because you guys lose a day every time we release it late. The other thing that we kind of making it easier for the European guys is like I said, the yesterday's stream is I'm gonna stream the main stream that I do for, let's say, talking about the Haribo and Haribo Cube and everything else going forward is gonna happen on a weekend, most likely Saturday at noon. So if I do Saturday at noon, it ends up being about dinner time for the European guys, depending on where you are. I think it's 5, 6, 7 is noon for us. So I start at noon, probably do an hour, 2 hours, and then you know if the North American guys are off for the weekend. The European guys are kind of about getting into dinner or getting out of dinner time. So I think that works out a little bit better for this stream. The other thing is I'm gonna try to work with. I've been trying to work with Rob to do a multi-site stream. It's a little bit more complicated than we thought. So basically, we needed a third site where we're streaming into it, and then have a controller. So we're gonna work on that. That will allow us to sort of have uh, him in North Carolina, me here in Toronto, and maybe a third host that we could kind of flip back and forth between the three, and then we can have like a multi-host uh, stream. That will take probably a few more weeks to kind of get sorted out. Um, what else? Oh, there was some talk about the firmware compiling on the Haribo. So my thought on that was that's why I was asking about if there's any CI guys is if we could set up the DigitalOcean VM or something that monitors um, the commits on the Prusa firmware. So every time that they release a new branch or at least release candidate or whatever whatever they tag something, we have to set the trigger. But every time that that trigger happens, we would then do the edits on the correct files, and then compile and then commit that new firmware to our repository. So so I think that that works, and I just need somebody to kind of take point on it, and I think that's the only way that we're going to be able to keep up with the changes because I know that a few people have volunteered to do it manually, but things happen. Either either like people are busy or we missed one or whatever. I mean, in this day and age, it's all automatic anyway, so it makes sense for a CI guy to take that up and do it. The other thing is that we could also have the CI do other things too, right? Like if we see like the new slicer, if there's no PR version of the slicer, the being committed or being branched off like for release, then we also could do a like a notification and do a release, like the test compound and do a release on that, so that we have some sanity, not always keeping up with the changes. CI is a continuous integration, so Ryan does it. So I shouldn't assume everybody's a developer. So sorry, my bad. I guess I'm just more of a low level management thing. So um, I just kind of try to coordinate everybody, make sure everybody gets the right resources. Um, Quick update on the group on the MP42 clones. I think most of them are packed and shipped. So if you don't have a notification that it was shipped, let me know and I'll work with Matt and figure out where everything is. I've ordered more for um, have ordered more of the board, so they'll be back in stock in a week or two. Um, what else? The weekly challenges. I mean, I picked the truck and egg last week, and I think I picked the battleship this week. I think we need more community suggestions on that, and we could kind of line it up for the next few weeks, so that we're not always scrambling on the last day to find out what we want to print. It'd be nice if you guys have something that you want to print, and I agree with John's suggestion that I want to kind of do something um, a little bit more educational or a little bit more useful. So not just like little trinkets that we print and then kind of leave around. And it'd be nice if we print something that is useful for once, and then kind of go with that. So any suggestions there would be greatly appreciated. Um, I think overall the move to Mattermost was working well. Um, I'm hoping that we start using the wiki a little bit more because we are still lagging behind in capturing some of the information that we have sort of floating around. I mean, it's still sort of folklore where we will help you, we'll tell you what to fix, but it'd be nice to say, hey, go there, look at that, and figure out, from the wiki what needs to get done. So um, I'm not sure if we want to kind of stick with the GitHub wiki, or we want to kind of do something else. I mean, like a Do or Amazon Web Services is like so much easier on our thing. So I'm not sure what we want to do with that, but I think we need to spend more time on that. Coinbinder, I think the yeah we kind of basically have a few kind of main hosts for the stream, and then maybe have a guest host. So every once in a while, if you want to go and talk about a certain thing, we could work out a schedule where we'll invite you on the stream for a host session, like a guest host session, and then you could do a thing. It doesn't take much. I mean, all I got is a webcam and a mic, and I'm been streaming for the last few times, so doesn't take much to do it. I have to still kind of get a third camera because I need to fill up that blank space you see on the lower left there. I used to use a mixer like Bean does, but I just find that it's so much easier to um, just go with the direct input instead of going through a mixer because the mixer just adds too much complexity to it. Um, and I know that you guys didn't really complain too much about number one the audio quality because I think right now with the two printers going in the background is a little bit louder. But the other thing is that I don't really have a lot of prep time for the streams. I basically wing it as I get on here, and I try to remember what I want to talk about. But it'd be nice to maybe have if we start using the wikis to have topic suggestions, and I could kind of pick off the topics that we could talk about. I could kind of research on it a bit more. I'm gonna try to work on Fusion 360 tonight to get the animation working for the Haribo Cube movement. I think it'd be interesting because I think I have some ideas that I want to run by you guys. Um, the I think I showed you guys last time was there was Masumi makes a 3030 to 2020 adapter. The problem is that if I start using that adapter, that extrusion adapter, that extrusion adapter will mean that you have to kind of get Masumi. And I know you guys in Europe has been having a lot of problems getting it from Masumi, so I'm trying to move away from using that adapter. The main reason I want to use that 3030 to 2020 adapter is because I was debating using linear rails. I know you guys were asking about linear rails last time, and I think I will try to see if I can work two designs, one with rods, one with linear rails. Linear rails would would be a little bit better on the longer spans than the rods, mainly because I know they lay flat on the extrusions versus having to be elevated for the carriage. So not decided yet. So still up in the air, but so far I think there's been some decisions that we've made on the bomb, and I'll kind of reiterate that. One was we are going to go with the 32-bit. Probably end up with smootherware, mainly because I could get a good price on the Aztec X5 boards, and they have Ethernet and everything. So I think that's going to be a given, and they run 32-bit. So not going to go back and try to use Rambo or the 8-bit model anymore. The other one was the choice to use the decision to use a Mix-X plate for the build plate and silicon heater. I know there's some talk about a 300 by 300 PCB. I might explore that once that comes out, but for now, I think because the way it's designed, the plate itself is going to move up and down. It's not going to be sideways movement, so the weight of it is not going to be important. What I want to do is try to mimic the removable build plate of the Buildtech quick change surface, so that basically we have a aluminum plate that is heated, and then a magnets embedded in the aluminum plate, and then have a flat stainless plate that gets um, magnetized over it, and then basically the whole thing gets heated, and then when your print is ready, you take the whole metal plate off, the stainless plate off, and you slap a new stainless plate on, and you could print again. You don't have to wait for the parts to cool. That's going to be what I want to do. The main problem with that is the magnetism. I'm not sure if the magnetism goes away with heat, so that's something we need to explore. And also, I need to go talk to the machine shop to see if they can actually machine the tolerances I need to embed the magnets into the build platform. But that works really well. Um, I know Jonas is gonna like not Jonas, Judas. I know Judas is gonna say Blue Yeti. God damn it! Don't get a Blue Yeti because I don't like it, but Rob likes it, so you can get it if you want to join his host. Um, the only reason why I like Audio Technica or like some of the other sort of broadcast quality mics, Blue Yeti was more started more like a podcasting mic, and I just find that a little tinny. So it really depends on your voice to begin with. If if you need a more broadcast like broadcast level, or like a more deep tone um, response, then I think you will like the Audio Technica is better. The Blue Yeti also is a little bit plasticky. I felt a little bit plasticky to my feel for the price that they want. So if you get a good deal on one, yeah, go buy one of those. But for like I think like less than $100, you can pick up a 2020. Um, that's what I paid. It's about $100 for Audio Technica. Um, it's really up to you, but one thing that really made a big difference I found was a pop filter, because like I sent one to Rob. I'm not sure if he used it on the last stream, but it made a big difference in terms of the directional. When I talk really close to the mic, the popping is gone, so it works out pretty well. So I think like that's something um, that I think will help. While I have you guys here, I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to turn on the volume here for a second. The I know there was some interest in Hypercube, so there's a new one out by this guy. He remixed um, the Hypercube to Hypercube Evolution. So he basically switched to 3030 extrusions from the 2020 on the original Hypercube. The other thing he did was the outside rails. He kind of took the same idea I did, which is he used 10 mil rods on the outside, 8 mil rods on the inside, and the bed itself is pause it there. The bed itself is on um, 12 mil rods. So pretty much everything here except the movement is going to be similar to what we're gonna try to build in Haribo. The only thing that I would probably end up writing to him about is his use of he doesn't use the corner cubes like me and Rob wants to do. He relies a lot on corner brackets, which we know is kind of weak. So I'm gonna suggest to him that he go back and use some of the corner cubes that we found, so that they'll be a little bit sturdier. But overall, the he also has this quick change. Okay, I shouldn't say quick change. It's quick removal extruder. So he showed you there was basically he's able to pop off this whole extruder assembly and pop on a dial so that he could go and level the like tram the bed. So um, something that I'll probably end up stealing the idea from him, and then go with that as well. So that like even though we have auto bed leveling, having the bed tram means that the corrections has to be less, so the prints will come out better anyway. So um, his carriage design is actually very simple. The same clamp that clamps the E3D clamps the proximity sensor as well, and it's just very clean. I think I like the way he's also kept the Prusa i3 wad spacing, so we can actually use any carriage you want on the and keep the same rod. So I think that there's a lot of good ideas here. This is just his first stream, so if you search for Hypercube Evolution, you see this design. I actually learned a lot from how he's doing the design. So probably end up integrating some of that to the mix. Um, was I know I said it's a quick stream, but it's like 40 minutes into the stream. Last thing is I got more springs, so Kovo, I'm gonna be sending you some springs from this pack. You can have some. What I'm thinking is that I'll send you a few more that you need, and then if you hear somebody else need them, you could go pay it forward and just mail it to them, and it should be fine from there. I think that's it. It's 5:35. Quick stream. So I'll go ahead and end it here. See you guys tomorrow at noon. I could have just stopped the stream. There we go.